Hey everyone, Kevin here. Now, I don't do these videos often. I'm kind of taking a break from the music industry part. I did a few shorts with a few cool things. So in return, I want to tell a story to all of you. Actually kind of can relate a little bit more to me because, I can fully understand that having a YouTuber that you don't fully know, a new YouTuber basically, you don't know who they are. So I'm going to tell a story to you all that I keep together all the time. And it was my first ever retail job. Now, I'll be fully honest, this story sounds a bit corny, but that's because it was my first retail job. I'll be fully honest, it sounds corny as hell. I'm super excited. Basically, that's it. If you like this video, or if you like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Seriously, helps me out so much. So yeah, thanks for watching. Now let's get this video started. To begin the story, it starts back in 2019. If you really want to go that far, 2018, 2019, that was the beginning of my retail career. Now, I was just out of high school. I didn't know where I was gonna go, what was gonna happen, that I was even gonna start a YouTube channel in 2020. I didn't think about that. Instead, I was thinking about money. And I did some streaming on Twitch at the time, but it got me nowhere. And so in return, my next point of option was to do the good old try and true working a really shit retail job that you want to kill yourself after. And in return, it wasn't that bad. Now, there were moments, and this story is going to be about a Karen that has always stuck with me and I've never forgotten about. Because it was like the first week of working there, and it bugged me so badly that I was like, this sucks. So, let me begin the story. It's 2019, I'm out of high school. You know this already. So right when I get out of high school, I got my first retail job at, name it with me, Goodwill. I actually worked at a Goodwill factory for if I remember correctly, I worked at a Goodwill factory, which means that you had your basic duties, where it's like you could work in the bathroom area, you could work in the main storage area. It was one of those types of jobs that, upon looking into it, you probably would never want to work there ever in your life. But for me, I was excited. All I saw was a job paid 20 something an hour, and I was sold. I was sold like a mother trucker. I was sold on that job like I want to do this for the next few years. I didn't even realize how dangerous, stupid, and how many injuries I would get on that job. But at the time, I didn't care. I didn't care at all. So originally, when I started the job was quite easy. The people there were nice, standard like retail stuff. The job wasn't bad. But they always said one thing that always bugged me. And it was always something about the back area. Something about the back area, you only have 4 bathroom breaks, which makes sense. I work retail now. I work at a Walgreens, so that makes sense. And that's about it. You get 2 bathroom breaks a day, and you gotta choose them wisely. Otherwise, you gotta ask a manager, or then you gotta ask a manager about it. Now, on my first part of the job, I worked at I was a open bag. If I remember correctly, I was a jewelry sorter person. If you don't know what that is, it's where you get a bunch of jewelry that is like second, third hand. And what would happen is you would then have to sort it. Basically, if it's magnetic, if it's gold, if it's silver, is it magnetic, is it not, is it a pendant? It was one of those jobs. And at the time, I didn't see an issue with a job like that. I always thought jobs were going to be hard and difficult. And this was just kind of pushing that narrative of maybe this isn't going to be easy, but I love a good challenge. But eventually, I learned that later on, I started getting tired of it. Like, to a point where every day felt the exact same way. Like, the best to explain it, it was a matter of I would wake up in the morning at like 5 something, right? Like 5 something in the morning. It wasn't like it wasn't like, oh, I'm waking up at 7. I had to wake up at 5 for this job. And to be honest with you, I was used to this kind of time because through high school, I had to wake up at least like 6 or 5 in the morning just to prepare for school. And that was normal. I was fine with that. But the main issue was that during the job, they had a ton of criteria they never explained. For one, while you're working, you can't listen to music. You have these, like, overhead speakers, obviously, that they sound groggy and old and, like, they're falling apart. They sound like shit. The music is outdated by, like, 10 to 20 years. You know, that kind of experience. And I was like, this is fine. This is perfectly calm. And yeah, it was cool. I loved it. I absolutely loved the job for the first few months. But then after the third month, so after the second month, or the third, I can't remember. After the second month, they moved me up to the DVD packing and shipping area, which if you don't know what the DVD packing and shipping area is, it's basically the area that you would, like, let's say you order a DVD from Goodwill. Let's say you order a DVD and it's like, oh, I gotta get it from here to there. Well, how this would work was simple. Basically, rather than just getting it, you'd have an order, and that order is what was shipped to you. So how the order would work would be simple. You would go to the computer, like, let's say you weren't picking up an order. Well, you'd have to order the DVDs. So you'd have a computer, you'd have to clock into the computer, log in, of course, and then you have to go like B-1, B-2, B-3, B-4. You get the whole point. It was a matter of, like, you had to count every disc you had, every single disc. And let's say that disc was an off number. Let's say that disc was an offshoot number of 5 or 6 or something. Let's say it was something like that. Then you had to figure out, like, how to fix it. Because what happened is, like, the computer was, you'd organize it from the computer, put a sticker on the disc, and then when the order would come in for disc 7-3, something like that, instead, you would have to go 7, row 7, and then 3 on top. And that's it. And that's all it really was. That's all it was. It was just that simple. But for the person putting the stickers on it, it was hell. It was like the definition of I did not like doing that. So what happened was, this is when Steven Universe, to best time zone this is when Steven Universe's movie, The Spinel, came out on YouTube. So I would have like one headset in one ear and the other would be working this. And I know that isn't the right motive, but for someone who has been through the droning act of high school, this was just one of those moments of my life where I really hated myself. Like, this was like a question of, why am I working here? This is not the job for me. But I already got 3 months deep and 2 months deep into the job. I mean, how far else am I gonna go, right? No, I was out of there within like 2 weeks. They didn't like me there because, I'll be fully honest, thank God I got out of there. I would have ended my own life if I was stuck doing that for another month. In return, I was then finally put into the shipping / packing sector, which was basically just look for an order, find the items, put them in a bag. It can't be boring, right? Those can't be boring. No. I enjoyed it for the first 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe 2 or 3 if you want to be genuine. But after the first 2 to 3 weeks, it was droning. It was bad. Like, seriously, like, I went through it, and I only worked there 4 months. My goal is to work there at least a year. And this is my first job, I should mention. Like, I should have gotten something like McDonald's or Walgreens. So eventually, I got through my 2 weeks. And eventually, they called me into the office one day and said, "Hey, we're letting you go." And yeah, that was about it. I was a bit devastated. That was my first ever job. I didn't realize that they could just let me go like that. I already worked my 90 days, so they could just let me go into me anytime, anywhen. And I'll be fully honest, I was devastated a little bit. Like, I loved the commute to my job. I loved it so much. But at the same time, the relief of, thank God this job is over, washed over me. Like, the feeling that like summer vacation just happened and you don't have to be in school for 2 months. Basically, that was the exact feeling. Now, yeah, I was disappointed. Like, disappointment, of course. It was my first job. But yeah, pretty good. Now, I will say that this job did teach me that not every job is going to be as expected. As I went to a school when I graduated 2018, I immediately went to like a work like school to help me learn like Microsoft Word and Office kind of work, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was about it. By the end of it, I did take a job. I didn't work at Bed Bath Beyond for about a year, and it was the best job I've ever had. I may make a whole separate video about that, but I want to be clear. Bed Bath Beyond and the job I'm working now were the 2 best jobs in my life, and I feel happy that I got to work there. I made so many friends in the Bed Bath Beyond story, which I will say next time. But for now, that was basically my story on how I survived retail work during earlier times of my life. Hopefully you like this. If you like it, don't forget to like and sub. I'll do some more of these. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace out, guys.